Good afternoon, members of the Youth Parliament, members of Parliament, support staff, visitors in the Tribune, radio listeners, TV viewers, and members of the media. Welcome to our first parliamentary public meeting for the year 2015-2016 in celebration of the Month of Rights of the Child, which theme is Strong Families Nurture Strong Societies. A special welcome is extended to Honorable MP Hyacinth Richardson, Deputy Governor Ronald Hunefeld, and Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, Ms. Sylvia Jacobs. We have established a quorum of 8 members.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the Youth Parliament of St. Martin through you, Madam Chair Lady, and to sit next to a former youth parliamentarian who continues to contribute in whichever way that she sees fit. I'm very proud to be here, first of all, and I commend all of the young people. I see some very young ones who have just gone on to high school, and so I know then that this youth parliament will continue to grow. That's on that note. Since entering the arena last Friday or last Thursday as the new Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports for St. Martin, I have been over and over again just thrown up on the stage to speak. So it is, yes, what I'm used to, and actually very happy to be able to do so today, because the topic that we are discussing, strong families, nurturing strong societies, most of what the youth parliamentarians have mentioned, as well as the advisor has stated, is key to our success, and that young people as you realize already the importance of your own responsibility within the family, I think is highly commendable. One or two of the presenters from the young parliamentarians mentioned that though the ideal would be a mother and a father in a home, being, especially in a loving Christian, being raised with all the right morals and values is an ideal, which probably was the norm at some point, that we have strayed far from that. And yet, despite that, some of us, myself, growing up in a single family situation for the majority of my life, feel that some of the challenges, as mentioned by Advisor Shillingford, actually strengthens you and builds you if that is your depends on your input and on your character. So it is very, very important, and I believe continuing to have forums where young people can speak and share with others. It might light a bulb by a young person who feels, my life is insufficient. My life is like that red mark on a report card. My life is not as good as his life or her life. But instead, look at the positives of your life. Some of us might have single parents' homes. Some of us might be less financially fortunate than others. But a family that contains love and support, more so than money and affluence, or the size of your house, or the type of car you drive, the type of clothes you wear, the type of shoes you wear, the type of phone you use, which seems to be so important right now. 10, 15 years ago, half of these things didn't even exist. So how important can they be? These things change as time goes by, but the love and the nurturing within families remain the number one. So even if it's a single family home, and in my case, with my children, though the father was not in the home, to maintain, it is our obligation as parents, as one YMP mentioned, I believe, George, that the parents make it their business to communicate and to continue to raise that child or children to the best of their ability, even though it is in 2 separate homes. And I believe the extended family plays a huge role in this. I have had the experience of my brothers assisting me, especially in raising a son. You must have that male figure for a child, for any child, but especially for a son. And then we don't negate that daughters also need their fathers. So if the father, sometimes it's not that the father is not in the home, maybe the father has passed away, like by choice. Maybe the father has passed away. Uncles, grandfathers, and even friends, male friends within the church community or within the community can, fill that role for a child. Because I think the most important thing is for a child to feel valued. Sometimes even in the most affluent homes with educated parents, parents are so busy running behind the almighty dollar or guilder that that child does not get the attention he or she deserves. That nurturing, that it will be okay from their mother or father. Maybe they get it from the maid or the helper or an aunt or a grandmother, but they crave it from their parents. So I believe, as one or two of the youth members of parliament have mentioned, not only is it a parenting issue, but it's also a government issue. We have to look at our labor laws. I believe we need to secure that children spend more time with their parents. And the way we are going right now, it's going the opposite direction. So it will take a concerted effort and serious collaboration between several departments, ministries in government for us to get to the ideal. And as time changes, the ideal will continue to change. But I am hopeful and I pray that the core of what a family is, and I heard it mentioned, I can't rattle it off like some of you, love, devotion, respect, and compassion, and sharing. And one thing I mentioned this morning at the youth panel discussion is the ability of a parent to apologize when you are wrong, and the ability of a child to be able to point out your parents' or any adult's faults without being disrespectful. I think when we learn to do that, or we teach our children to do that, whether it's in the home or in classrooms or in the society, to this day, I pass students on the street and I will tell them, pull your pants up. I will tell young girls about the way they are dressed if it is inappropriate. I will commend the young person who is doing it the right way also. So it is our duty as a society to not only talk the talk, but set the example and follow up and follow through. And remember that we were young once too. And we still make mistakes, and we are all still growing. And as we grow and we acknowledge the strengths that we bring to each other within the family, within the society, we can only do it better and better every other day.
As mentioned at our inauguration, part of our structure of the St. Martin Youth Parliament is about spreading the word about various awareness projects. This month is the month of Rights of the Child. This month is very important to us as youth parliamentarians because it educates us about our rights for children and young people. The theme this year is Strong Families Nurture Strong Societies. This theme was generated by this year's Articles 5 and 9 from the Convention of the Rights of the Child. Article 5 states, parties shall respect the responsibilities, rights, and duties of parents, or where applicable, the members of the extended family or community as provided by local custom, legal guardians, or other persons legally responsible for the child, to provide in a manner consistent with the evolving capacities of the child, appropriate direction and guidance in the exercise by the child of the rights recognized in the present convention. Whereas Article 9 states, parties shall ensure that a child shall not be separated from his or her parents against their will, except when competent authorities subject to the judicial review determine, in accordance with the applicable law and procedures, that such separation is necessary for the best interest of the child. Such determination may be necessary in a particular case, such as one involving abuse or neglect of child by the parents, or one where the parents are living separately and a decision must be made as a child's place of residence. 2. In any proceedings pursuant to paragraph 1 of the present article, all interested parties shall be given an opportunity to participate in the proceedings and make their views known. Part 3 states parties shall respect the rights of the child who is separated from one or both parents to maintain personal relations and direct contact with both parents on a regular basis, except if it's contrary to the child's best interest. And 4, where such separation results from any action initiated by a state party, such as the detention, imprisonment, exile, deportation, or death, including the death arising from any cause while the person is in custody of the state, of one or both parents or of the child, that state party shall, upon request, provide the parents, the child, or if appropriate, other member of the family with the essential information concerning the whereabouts of the absent members of the family, unless the provision of the information will be detrimental to the well-being of the child. State parties shall further ensure that the submission of such requests shall of itself entail no adverse consequences for the persons concerned. This topic is very important to our society in St. Martin, since we are known for having so many broken homes and also experience the effects of cases in violence on the island. I will now invite the youth members of parliament to present their speeches on strong families nurture strong societies. YMP Reina Willensberg, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairlady, my fellow youth parliamentarians, the audience in the public seating, televiewers, and radio listeners. In the 2013 UNICEF report, The Situation of Children and Adolescents in St. Martin, it was concluded that St. Martin has achieved some progress on the right protection. And I quote, an initial child protection system has been set up and a protocol has been developed that establishes 6 steps to be taken to detect and intervene in cases of child abuse, violence, and neglect. The goal is for all the various state agencies and civil society organizations to use the same procedure. There is a large state budget for social protection, including universal subsidies for all citizens. There is no evidence of child labor on the island. A number of civil society organizations that work on issues affecting children, such as neglect, abuse, and violence, are funded by the state. While other organizations depend on other sources of funding, significant legal advances in the new civil code include the right of children to know who their father is and to receive support from him. However, it continues. Despite the legal advances and the existence of a rights-based legal framework, there is no comprehensive protection system for children and adolescents, nor is there a youth policy or specific legal code for children and adolescents. Nuclear families have become less common due to women having children at an early age without a steady partner and high rates of divorce. And the majority of household responsibilities fall on women in both their productive and reproductive roles. They often work long hours and/or in multiple jobs and hardly see their children. Young parents may also ignore their parenting responsibilities, and there are limited programs to guide them in the proper way to raise children. How many times do we hear the adage, children are raising children? Domestic violence affecting children, adolescents, and women is believed to be common but is generally invisible. There are no official data and low levels are reported due to a culture of silence. Physical punishment is frequently used as a form of discipline, leading to the possible normalization of violence. This is also witnessed in schools with increasing levels of violence. For those who believe in reaching out and touching their children, they readily use Proverbs 13:24 as the defense. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. What they forget is the being careful part. A child should never be bruised, injured, or cut by a physical correction. The UNICEF report, The Situation of Children and Adolescents in St. Martin, gives some recommendations that I believe are of our utmost importance for our government and community to act upon. I will mention a few. continue to build and enhance a comprehensive system of care and protection backed up by a legal framework, enhance coordination between government and civil society actors engaged in providing child protection services, reinforce and implement legislation against domestic violence, and develop mass education programs on prevention, treatment, and resolution of problems of violence, and to encourage people to report incidents. Create social mechanisms to prevent the normalization of violence against and among children and adolescents. Set up a telephone hotline or other means of communication about the problem to provide counseling services and referrals to child protection services for victims of abuse, violence, and neglect. Design an early warning system for violations of the rights of children and adolescents that involves the judicial, health, and education systems and civil society watchdogs. It is my fervent hope that our government take these recommendations seriously and take the needed steps to make them a reality. We know already that they may say, namely that the financial resources are not there, things are tight. This, however, does not absolve government from doing everything, albeit in a phased approach, to guarantee that the rights of the child are enforced in its sweet St. Martin's land. Thank you.
Thank you very much, YMP Willensberg. YMP Jimla Halman, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, distinguished guests, fellow youth parliamentarians, the people of St. Martin. The family, the society. These words are often used hand in hand, where the word family represents a social unit where adults live with children they care for, and is considered to be the building block or the foundation of a home, a huge home, the society. Coming from the Latin word socius, a society is a group of people belonging to a more or less ordered community. Strong families are of high importance when it comes to the building up or creating a foundation for a strong society. In the world today, we hear how strong families do such wonders when it comes to the development of a community. But what do we really think about when one talks about a strong family? We often degrade what it really is, saying that it's a family with values or a family that has a good bond. But there is far much more to a strong family than that. A strong family indeed has good values, but they possess certain traits which makes them stronger, more resilient, and different from any old family. These traits include commitment, time together, communication, trust, working as a team, seeking help when needed. Article 9 of the Convention of the Rights of a Child states that you, the children, have a right to live with your parents unless it is bad for you. You have a right to live with a family who cares for you. A strong family is one in which children feel loved. They are nurtured, cared for, encouraged, and given a strong foundation on which to grow. Children who experience these things in their home and family life are less likely to develop issues of abandonment. They are less likely to display aggression or other antisocial behaviors. Children who live in a family with caring, loving, nurturing parents are well-adjusted, self-confident individuals. They understand their personal worth and value the contributions they can make to the society. They are therefore more likely to build up others around them, rather than to destroy them or break them down. Looking at these traits of a strong family, they can be easily related to the traits that society needs to possess in order for it too to become strong. How do these families with these traits contribute to this buildup? They help mainly by decreasing the amount of social ills, which is done by people being more productive within their community and children doing better in school with their goal in mind of becoming successful in a way that benefits their community. How can we ensure that every child on St. Martin can enjoy the benefits of Article 9? Each element of our society needs to recognize the values of a family unit to the overall development of our country. Parents need to understand their crucial role in the development of children. Parents are our first teachers. At the home, our first classroom. The values that we expect our children to grow with must first be taught at home and reinforced in the home. Recognizing the value of a family means that employment policies should be family-friendly, enabling parents the time to participate in their children's activities. Our cost of living needs to be brought under control, and every citizen should be able to earn a living wage. This is very important as many parents need to work multiple jobs in order to provide their families with the basic necessities of shelter, food, and clothing. Parents need to be able to spend more time investing in the lives of their children to build strong families. Children, too, have a responsibility in the development of strong families. We need to be more cautious of the challenges facing our parents and be appreciative of what they are able to provide for us. Children should assume their responsibilities in the home to be respectful of their parents and to help out around the home with simple chores. Doing these things will take some pressure off of the parents and free up time and resources for the family to spend together in meaningful activities. It is said that a family that prays together stays together. I believe that the family that prays, works, and plays together builds a strong family unit on which we can build a strong and resilient society. Therefore, the government of St. Martin, the business community, and all of our people, young and old, are needed so that the goal of this team, strong families nurture strong societies, can be fulfilled. Thank you.
Thank you very much, YMP Holloman. YMP Hubert Maynard, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, TV viewers. Good afternoon, guests. Good afternoon, fellow youth members of Parliament. State parties shall respect the responsibility of the rights of the duties of the parents or the guardians or the community who legal to be guardians. Parents/guardians have an important role to play for the children. First off, they have to meet the function of the parental role. Parents, the satisfaction of emotional needs. Parents or guardians supposed to be able to teach their children or their adopted kids how to react to times of crisis. Satisfaction of income needs. They be able to be breadwinners and be able to provide the basic emotional need: clothes, shelter, and food. The roles of the parents is very important. If they don't reach them, the children won't be able to be successful. The parents will be able to have money management skills, able to save and how to finance good and have a budget. Good communication skills. You have to learn how to communicate with the children when the children come home with problems. Social skills. They're supposed to teach their children how to be members in society. Before parents are able to get children, they themselves need to reach the needs. Employment, house, education, stable income, good relationship. Employment, they need to have a job. Education, they need to be educated in order to have a job. And they need to have a house and a stable income and good relationships with their children. If the parents or guardians do not reach the needs, they also will lead to poverty, which the children have to become breadwinners, which is kind of bad in a way because it will be effectable. Now, when the children become breadwinners, they won't be able to have time to focus on their schoolwork. and the education will be coming lacking. And if the parents, as I said earlier, how I explained the roles, if the parents cannot reach the roles, then there's the rights for the children to be separate from them. But separation could lead to an effect. Okay, if they separate, depends how they separate, they can also become street children. Okay, the parents do not have these basic roles, they will become street children, they'll be on the streets, and they'll be going to do other stuff. Then they will become a big problem to society. And when that problem comes, it will also become a problem to country. They won't have an education, they'll be going to rob, steal, and kill. All that could be a problem in society. For I find the child rights that the parents should reach these roles instead of before thinking to have children. You also have to think a step ahead or a step out of the box. Parents should also plan their life too. Because before you have children or before any young teenager or any young person make children, you need to plan how the income of it will come. If they not plan, of course, as I said, it will lead to the children to become a problem to society. Even the parents will become a problem to society. And good relationships. If the parents don't have good relationship or the mother and father don't have good relationships, it all becomes a problem. Because the child be seeing their mother or father cussing, and they will get depressed because they'll feel bad about it, or they'll go out and cuss other people's children. That again could become a problem. And then is when the home is become weak. Violent. Also the fighting in the home. When they see mother and father fighting, they'll figure, oh, they could go and fight. Then they'll go fight, hit people, children, all kind of fights, and then it could come serious. So basically, it starts from the home. The family is supposed to have a strong and loving, caring home. If not, then the children become lacking, and it will become a big problem to society, as I said. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you very much, YMP Maynard. YMP Angelique Warno, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. It is said that charity begins at home, which means being generous to your family before helping others, but it doesn't stop there. There is much more to it than just giving. Families instill moral values and beliefs, and these values and beliefs carries on generation after generation. How, you may ask? Well, a family consists of parents and their children. Children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future. Parents are responsible for nurturing a child with the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. These same values and beliefs that were taught to us influence our society today. Society, by definition, is a group of people living together in a nation. How can we live together without these values and beliefs? Simple, we cannot. For this reason, strong families nurture strong societies. Being brought up into a family that has strong, positive, and powerful values and beliefs will in turn reflect a strong, positive, and powerful society. It is because of this that every child holds the power to change a nation, and